Okay, welcome everyone. I am Julie Busby with Busby Group, and I think some of you have tuned in, and if not, this might be your first one to tune in. I am doing a series called Coast to Coast. I am doing this as I feel, I keep saying that COVID has brought about the great reshuffle, where people are maybe buying a second home, maybe they're moving closer to grandparents, just want a better quality of life. Maybe they can now do a lot of Zoom meetings from home. So I wanted to share with all of our clients and friends out there that I have a wonderful group of brokers nationwide, and I wanted you all to start to meet them. And it's actually fun for me because I learn about their marketplaces as well. So today I have Lauren Brooker of Brooker and McMurray Group. They are in Naples, Florida. So Lauren, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I know you and I have talked about this before, that I'm living like a cardinal sin because I am from Chicago. I have not been to Naples. I know you and I have chatted. I've sent clients your way and you've taken excellent care of them. But I wanted to maybe start with, well, first start, let's say, why don't you share how long you've been doing this? And then we'll get into telling us a little bit more about Naples, the day in the life of living in Naples.
Sure. I was licensed in October of 2005. So right when the market
Started
originally,
to tank.
yeah. So I
Perfect timing.
basically learned everything I could, drove the area because I pretty much moved here in 2003, working on a private yacht, and
Oh, amazing.
decided why would I leave? So I met my future husband and stayed. Um,
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I hit the ground running in 2005, just learning the market and really ran out and started meeting people, doing the Naples lifestyle, playing tennis, going boating. We spent a lot of time on the water. My husband grew up in South Florida, so we had a boat starting in 2007. So
Amazing.
between tennis and boating and diving for lobsters and, you know, hitting Fifth Avenue, Third Street, Mercado, we have lots of shopping, dining. We're close, 2-hour drive to Miami. So
Whoa,
if
I
we
didn't
want
realize
the big
Naples was
city,
that
we can.
close.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because in Chicago, obviously we're in a big city. So we have excellent culture, amazing restaurants. Tell me a little bit more. You mentioned Fifth Street, Third Street. Tell me a little bit more. There's good shopping and good dining.
Yeah, absolutely. We have more of a boutique type shopping along Fifth Avenue and Third Street, and resort style dining, and not your big box, big stores and restaurants that you would see everywhere else. So a lot of really unique dining options are coming into town, craft cocktails, the
How
French.
neat.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's I love to recommend all these. I wish I could get out more. I have a 10-year-old, so we don't get out as much as we used to.
I get it. I get it. We have like one or two restaurants we know the kiddos are good at, and we stick with those.
Yeah.
Yes.
So lots of options for people to, if they're downtown or staying in North Naples, we have Mercado and other options, sort of in the North Naples area too.
Okay. So you and I have chatted in the past about this, but I thought it'd be neat to share. So I know historically Chicagoans might buy an in town, or be a snowbird, down to Florida. Um, are you still seeing that trend? And then I'm also curious if you're seeing more of a trend of people moving from Chicago or the Northeast and living there full time. I'd love to hear what trends you've been seeing with relocations, et cetera.
Right. So Chicago has always been a huge feeder market for Naples. And traditionally, they wanted the in town walkability to restaurants and the beach.
Yes.
Now I have this huge group coming from Lake Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and they want more full-time lifestyle. So they want the community with the amenities and tennis, golf. Yeah.
To be there full time. So I have a question. The full timers who are coming, do they still have kids in school, or are they kids already in college?
It's sort of a combination, but this last group that I'm talking about, their kids are college and beyond.
Okay.
So
Okay. Good to hear. Because I know we've personally seen some clients go down there, with kiddos, and they're looking to start raising kiddos down in Florida. And I'm curious, how are the schools pretty good? Are there certain regions that are known for better schools?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some A-rated schools. Melissa, my business partner, came from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, yes, that's
She
great.
did,
I forgot about
yeah,
that.
she did the public school system, and then we've got other options as far as charter schools. We've got amazing private schools, and those have grown too. We have probably 4 or 5 options that go up to at least high school age. And generally, most of them are kind of in that North Naples sort of area. Old Naples, there's just not a lot of land, you know?
Sure,
So
sure,
everything has to go a little bit east and a little bit north. But the
sure.
proximity from North Naples to Old Naples is about 20 to 23 minutes, you know?
Oh, okay. So totally manageable. You could, be in a good school or, what you might think is a good rated school and then still have a great, get downtown
Right. Yeah. And
to
it's
get
not
to.
a highway drive. It's a very reasonable, beautiful ride down. Yeah.
Okay. Neat. I can imagine. So tell me about what you've been seeing, in the marketplace because everyone's hearing about people buying in Florida. So I mean, what has it done to pricing? Is there inventory right now? I'd love to hear what's going on in the marketplace. If we have someone looking for an in town and or looking for full time, I'm curious what's going on.
So we have anything from the $70 million property on the beach in old, Port Royal. We've
Your
seen
for
properties
your
there.
average buyer.
Yeah, you're just your average buyer. And some of them, a lot of them are from Chicago, the
I'm
Midwest.
sure. I'm sure.
Mhm. I've got a lot of people coming from Boston. That's been pretty standard. A lot of Philadelphia and that
Okay.
surrounding area, Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland, and then California. I've
Mm,
got Colorado arriving tonight. We'll be out tomorrow and Friday. Um,
wow.
so
It's
it's really
Colorado.
mhm,
So people are coming from all over.
all over. Yeah. And it's the friends from Chicago that referred Colorado to me.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
So then, are you seeing, I know this is a big talk as these Californians, and I have a lot of California friends and clients. So hello, if you're watching, I know that they're coming in with cash and that's been changing a lot of marketplaces. Is that what you're seeing a lot of in your marketplace?
I think the last stats for March were over 60% of the offers were or closings are cash.
60% are cash.
Mhm.
Wow. And
Just
that's
for,
true cash, not, hey, I'm waiving my mortgage contingency, but I'm going to get a mortgage.
you know,
Wow.
that that box that we check is
Yes.
financing or cash
Or
or financing
cash.
without contingency. So there, I don't know how that's going to progress now with interest rates the way they've climbed, but
Right.
I've got a lot of clients that have access to portfolios that are,
Right.
keep their rates low. Yeah.
Wow. Now, what about inventory? Is it possible to find something right now? How's that
Yeah.
going?
So January, we're not a huge market, but January we only had 1,100 properties for sale. I would say prior to COVID, we had about 6,000 properties for sale.
Hold on. So prior to COVID, you would have 6,000. In this January, you had
1,100, and I just
1,100.
looked this morning and we have 1,628 for sale.
Okay. So you are seeing a little uptick
Yes.
in inventory. Okay.
Yep.
So when
But
I spoke to you, Melissa and I do work together often, and
yeah,
we've chatted. So last time I spoke to Melissa, I want to say earlier this year, was it your inventory was at 87%, or I'm sorry, was down 87%? Is that statistic correct?
yes. Yeah, I think we even
Wow.
got below 1,000. I think at one point it was like 950, and then a developer came and put a bunch of condos up for sale and kind of flooded that, made the numbers look bigger, but it really wasn't. It was all new construction.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So then right now you have seen a decent uptick in the last few weeks then. And if people are watching this later, we're on May 18th right now, 2022. So just in the last 2 weeks, probably beginning of May, you've had more inventory coming in.
Yes. Yeah. When
Okay.
a buyer gets specific about what they want, North Naples, two-car garage, gated community, it really dwindles down. So, that's the overall market. And we have, if you go further east in Naples, there's a lot of land and probably more inventory out there. It's called Golden Gate Estates. It's acreage. It's people wanting that, sprawling kind of property.
Sure.
The
Now, if
impact.
they do that, what's the accessibility to the beach?
It can get a little hairy with drive times. So you're looking at 30 minutes.
Okay.
probably. Mhm.
Okay. So
And
they
some
need to know
people,
that, like,
yeah,
yeah.
I-75 is kind of a line that some people draw saying, don't put me east of I-75, which is about a 10 to 15-minute drive to the beach.
Makes
So
sense.
that's
Okay.
important.
Okay. Now, is there a time of year that's usually a better time to buy in Naples?
We used to say that, but the last 2 years have been the majority of my closings will be March to June or July.
Okay.
So typically we would see the market get flooded right about now because people have left. March 31st is, or right around Easter is when people kind of head home for
Okay.
season. But a lot of people try to capture that 6 months and a day to have, not pay state income taxes here.
To be residency.
They want to be
Okay.
resident. So
Interesting.
we do see more inventory traditionally this time of year, but a lot of people come in town to scoop
Sure.
it up.
Okay. Now, what about Airbnbs? Is that still possible there? Are there any restrictions? I know some Chicagoans will buy a home in Michigan, and right now we're having some of the jurisdictions saying no more Airbnb. So how's it going there? Is that landscape changing at all?
The local government's definitely taking a look at that, especially in the city of Naples. The city of Naples requires 30-day minimums
Okay.
for theirs. So when you go just to the north in North Naples, we have a neighborhood called Naples Park, tons of Airbnbs, a lot of investors. And actually, a Compass agent from up north contacted me. She just went under contract 2 days ago. They're flying back
Wow.
in and they're going to do Airbnbs there. So the
Okay.
rental potential income is pretty good.
Okay. But even there, does that have to be 30 days or no? That could be nightly.
That could be nightly. So that's just outside of the proximity of you know the city of Naples. So it's now just Collier County, our grand county. So, but there
Okay.
has been talk because the people that live there full time don't like the
The
noise. People have
right.
to go to work on Monday to Friday, and everyone else is on vacation.
Sure. Yeah, I get it. You don't want all that transient traffic.
Right.
The 30-day minimum doesn't seem like a bad, solution because then it is someone who's staying at least a little bit longer. So it's not as transient.
Right. Right. And
So tell me about if someone wanted to come down and just start to get to know the area, do you recommend them stay in a certain region so it's more central? What do you recommend everyone check out when we're down in Naples?
it really depends on the area that they want to buy in. If they're waterfront, and honestly, to find rentals right now is very difficult during
Is
season.
it
Oh, it is. I mean, it's not highest and best like,
right?
sales. I
Like
heard one
purchasing?
agent say they're doing highest and best for rentals. I don't know if it was one of your interviews or someone else. I can't imagine. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's insane.
yeah, yeah, we have extended stays hotels, but I would generally say get close to the beach so you can, and see what the Naples beaches are like. I mean, the Gulf of Mexico is one of the most beautiful um, landscapes that we can provide. It feels like a beautiful lake, and actually, this month is probably the best month to be out there because low humidity, very low chance of rain, and no one's here. It's very quiet. This is like my favorite time.
Wow. So May is your favorite time there. So because all the, Northeasterners and Chicagoans who are there for the spring have left.
The water feels like you're in the Keys right now. It's so clear and beautiful. So I'm excited for my Colorado people to come. They're going to stay in North Naples, and we're going to focus on that North Naples area. I definitely recommend going out to downtown, the French or Bartulia, or a couple other options down there. Um, and we Mercado is also definitely a great spot to go. Waterside Shops is where we have our Saks and
Okay.
outdoor
So you
shopping. And
have some good shopping there. I mean, I literally have not been to Naples, so I don't know what
yeah,
all
we've
is
got all
is
the
there.
fine stuff. Yeah, we've got beautiful shopping, and yeah, it's easy to get lost in the day walking around.
That's
Mhm.
that's wonderful. I can imagine. So Anything else you think is important to share with potential Chicagoans wanting to come visit, wanting to potentially buy an income property or just a vacation home, or looking for a full move? Any other advice or tips that you have about the marketplace?
I think it's good to know. I mean, there are some people that have said, look, we're just going to hold off until we come in and maybe rent next season. They want to feel it in January, February, March is our high
Sure,
season.
sure,
I think right now is a good time because we do see elevated, inventory. I think we may level in pricing right now. I don't think we're going to
agreed.
see that 10 to 20% spike. I mean, our average sale last year was, or 2 years ago was around 800. Now it's a million.
Mm,
We did over 80, 90 transactions last year.
wow.
Um,
So you've
uh,
gone up at least 20%.
yeah,
Yeah.
over 2 years, 2020, it was average around 80 or
Okay.
800. And so I think now is a good opportunity to pick off some stuff, especially in the communities that may have a little bit more inventory. It just depends on where that person's looking to buy.
Sure.
I do think, there's some communities that there's some opportunities for sure.
That's Chicago. I keep calling it micro markets. There's so many micro markets. There's one market that's still booming and multiple offers or at least a lot of interest. Other micro markets are, might be a little bit slower.
Mhm.
It's interesting right now, this marketplace. So
Right. It's
I get
very
that.
segmented for sure. For sure.
Yes. Yes. And then there's trends. One may be great, for a few months and another, and they swap. It's
Mhm.
so interesting.
How are you guys with new construction? Our developers down here are saying highest and best still. So you
Mm.
just put in a piece of paper saying what you're going to do, and they only release 2 or 3 a month. Do you guys do
So
that?
we're not like that in Chicago. We don't have as much being released and no. We don't have we don't have a lot of land. So we don't have a lot of
Right.
projects like
Right.
that have, phases. I guess if you go out further out in the burbs, yes, we have helped some clients where there are some phases and they only release 2, 3. But as you come in closer to the city, closer to Chicagoland, we don't have a lot of that because we don't have a lot of land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and also with that, that means our inventory is even lower because we don't have a lot of development. It's more of maybe gut rehabs or they're tearing down and rebuilding like a singular home.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, inventory is still tight. So
Right.
it's interesting. But Chicagoans, if you're hearing, it sounds like now might be a time to potentially grab something in Naples because the inventory is picking up some. So there is some potential opportunity. And it sounds like this isn't as much of the busy season to buy either. Weather's going to be a little warmer, but it might be to your advantage to try to go down and take a look. So
Right. Yeah.
neat. Well, usually at the end, I do a little not a round robin, a rapid fire of
Oh,
questions.
okay.
I don't even know what I'm going to ask. I'm going to try to pull from the back of my mind of what I normally ask. But are you ready?
But
Okay. So if you weren't in real estate, what would you be doing?
my prior career was college athletics. I played sports in college and I loved being around student athletes. It's the love of the
Neat.
game. Yeah.
Yes.
Fire in the
What
belly.
what sport did you play?
I played volleyball.
Oh,
Mhm.
wonderful. Katie on our team, she's a volleyball player, and she played at collegiate level as well. So neat.
Yes.
Well, I thought you were going to say yachting. I mean, you were on a yacht previously.
Well, if I was with my husband, I would say yachting because, I worked with my sister and brother-in-law on the yacht. So it was
Wow.
third wheel.
So this is I'm going to show too much, but I one of my guilty pleasures is watching Below Deck. Do you ever watch Below Deck?
All of my clients asked me if that's what it was like.
Is it? Was it like that?
Not with my brother-in-law and sister, but I did see some of those big yachts down in the Caribbean for sure. But we didn't have, we were on a 100-foot yacht, so it was a little more contained and
Wow.
not so scandalous.
I mean, it looks that the small quarters and trying to entertain and the chef looks like the hardest job. So,
And
but
it
it's
was me.
fascinating to me. That was
Yeah,
you?
I was the cook stew, but I was not a chef by training. So we worked for a private family. Yeah.
Wow.
But we didn't have the turnover of a bunch of guests and I could just learn what they like to eat. And then,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I bet you have stories for days. That's so
Yeah.
cool. I love it. Okay, so I like to ask travel. If you, where's your favorite place to travel that's either a quick flight or a quick drive from Naples?
Quick drive, the Keys.
Oh, I love the Keys.
A
Yes.
quick
So what
flight.
is the drive from Naples to the Keys?
The beginning is Key Largo, which is where my husband's from. It's
Yes.
about 3.5 hours, maybe.
Okay.
All the way to the end is about 5 hours.
Okay. But it's
But
a
we can take,
beautiful drive.
right. And then a puddle jumper plane is the best. Little Palm Island is an
30
amazing
minutes.
adult only trip down in the Keys. So,
So cool.
mhm.
So cool. Yes, I agree. My husband and I have a tie to Key West, one of our favorite places. So
Yes.
love
It's
it. Well, good. And then favorite restaurant, Sans Kids in
okay.
Naples.
It would have to be Bartulia.
Okay. And
Bartulia.
that's on Fifth, or where is that? Just so I
So
get an
now
idea.
they have one in North Naples too, so even more convenient for us. It's fresh food, really amazing craft cocktails, really cool vibe, and you know, quaint and small.
Love it. Love it.
Definitely have to hit that one.
That's great. I'm loving seeing all the scenes excel with all this movement of people moving around. It's really exciting because now we can go visit places and still have a great dining experience. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today. This has been amazing, and I'm excited for our Chicagoans to hear about Naples. And I'm going to put a little plug. I know Lauren actually mentioned she has some listings coming on here soon, so we'll make sure we share her listings to our group too, just so you can start to keep an eye on what's going down in Naples. So, Lauren, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.